Hey,
Hey, so what's today's story?
it's one of my favorites in the Old Testament.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's from the book of 1 Samuel, and it's about Hannah.
Hannah.
You know Hannah.
I knew Hannah in Wilmington when we lived there.
Not that Hannah. This one's in the Old Testament. I already gave you that hint.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 1 Samuel, Old Testament.
Oh, Hannah, the mother of Samuel.
That one. Yes, yes.
That one.
And
okay.
you remember her husband's name?
Let me see. Elkanah.
Yes. You took my trivia word. Yes. So, Hannah is married to Elkanah, and Elkanah has 2 wives.
2 wives.
Yeah, yeah. And the
That's
other
all I can do to keep up with one.
You're so on a roll today, aren't you, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So anyway, as I was saying, Elkanah had 2 wives, and the other wife had a lot of children, but Hannah didn't have any children.
No children.
No, and it was very sad, very sad.
Okay.
So, every year, the Elkanah would give a portion of what he had to Hannah, but he would give more to his other wife, whose name was Peninnah.
I didn't know that.
Okay, good. And he would give her enough for each of her children. So Hannah was kind of left out.
She's kind of low on the totem pole, isn't she?
Yes, she is. And the other wife, Peninnah, would kind of give Hannah a hard time. It's kind of sad.
That wasn't nice.
It was not nice at all. Not nice at all. So one year, Hannah decided that she would go to the temple and pray. And she prayed, and Eli, who was the high priest, saw her, and she was praying so hard. Eli thought she'd been drinking.
You mean?
Yeah. Thought
Tipsy?
she was drunk.
Oh, drunk.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine praying that hard that somebody else thinks you've been drinking?
Can't imagine that
That's
one.
praying hard. So Eli had to know what was going on, and he talked to Hannah, and Hannah said, I just want a child. I really, really want a child. So I have told God that if I can have a child, that I will give him back to God, and I will bring him here to the temple, and he can serve you.
So she's praying for a child. And she says once she gets the child, she'll give him away to back to the temple.
Isn't that something? Yes.
It's kind of strange.
Yes. So she did that, and you know what happened?
What happened?
She had a baby.
She did.
She had a baby, and that baby's name was
Samuel.
You got it. You got it. So when Samuel was born, she took him to the temple and showed him to Eli and said, God has done what I asked, so I'll be bringing this baby back to serve you. When he's a little bit older.
He's older. Okay.
And
he wouldn't be much help as a baby.
That's true. That's true. So So Hannah did what she said, and she brought Samuel back as a little boy to be Eli's helper.
Okay, to be Eli's helper.
Mm-hmm.
A helper at the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Eli had a couple of sons that weren't really helpful and did some things they probably shouldn't have done. So Samuel was much more of a helper than Eli's boys.
He was more responsible.
Much.
Okay.
Much.
Okay.
So, yes, and then Hannah went on to have more children.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
Once she got started.
Yeah. So she had boys and girls after that. So she had more children.
Okay.
So I'm sure she was very happy. And then every year she would go see Samuel, and she'd take him a new robe for him to wear.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
Yeah.
Let me get this. You see your mother once a year and she gives you a robe.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing.
Well, it's a nice thing. But, God listened to Hannah's prayers and granted her a child, and she did what she said she would do. So Samuel, as we know, goes on to be very, very important to the Hebrew people.
Okay.
So do you remember what one of the stories is about him as a little boy?
I seem to remember something about him one night when he was asleep.
Right. So one night when he was sleeping, he heard this voice who said, "Samuel, Samuel." And of course, Samuel thought it was Eli. So he goes in there and wakes up Eli and said,
"Oh, you shouldn't wake up old people in the middle of the night.
Good point.
They might not get back to sleep."
Good point. You're right. But he did it. He went in there and said, "What do you need? What can I do?" And Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back to sleep." Samuel's a little confused, but he went back to sleep. Went back to his room, went back to sleep, and then a few minutes later, guess what happened?
What?
He heard, "Samuel, Samuel."
And this time it was Eli.
Well, he went back to Eli's room and said, "You calling me?" And Eli said, "No, I'm not calling you. Go back to sleep."
If I were Eli, I'd be getting a little aggravated by this time.
Yeah, he's probably having a really hard time getting back to sleep now.
Yeah.
But guess what?
What?
Happened again.
Happened again.
Samuel's asleep and he hears, "Samuel, Samuel." And he says, "I'm coming, Eli." And he goes into Eli's room and he says, "What you want? I'm here."
And what does Eli say?
And Eli starts thinking, I bet I know what's going on. I bet God's trying to talk to him. So he told Samuel, he said, "Samuel, if this happens again, you go and say, 'Speak, because I'm listening. I'm right here, Lord. Speak to me.'" And so that's what happened. The next time he heard, "Samuel, Samuel," Samuel sat up and he said, "Yes, Lord, I'm listening. Tell me what you want me to know."
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Isn't that great?
I hope he didn't go and tell Eli all about it and wake him up again.
Well, not that night, but God and Samuel had a very important conversation, and Samuel did have to tell Eli about it the next day. And that's a whole nother story, and it goes on from there. But what we want to remember now is that God listened to Hannah. Hannah had a baby after she prayed and prayed, and Samuel grew up to be a servant of the Lord.
Oh, okay.
And the whole book is, that's just the beginning, because Samuel does a lot of things later on in the story, in the Bible to show how much he loves God and how he wants to do what God wants him to do.
Okay. Well, let me see here for a second. I bet we can drop the beat. Hannah was sad, for she wanted a son, so she went to the temple to pray for one. She promised God, if he answered her prayer, that her son would serve in the temple there.
In the temple there.
9 months later, Hannah had a son. She loved her son more than anyone, but while Hannah's son was still just a lad, she took him to the temple with all that he had.
With all that he had?
With all that he had. The little boy, Samuel, for that was his name, learned to help the people whenever they came. Eli would show him exactly what to do, and all the while little Samuel grew.
And all the while little Samuel grew.
Then one night, when bedtime came, he heard old Eli calling his name. He ran to Eli, but Eli said, I did not call. Go back to bed.
Go back to bed.
Then Samuel heard the voice once more, so he ran and knocked on Eli's door. Sleepy Eli shook his head. I did not call. Go back to bed.
I did not call. Go back to bed.
When it happened again, old Eli knew. He told the boy what he should do. Listen, for God is speaking to you. So Samuel listened with all his might and talked with God that very night.
And talked with God that very night.
And talked with God that very night. Stop the beat.